Welcome to the Virtual Health Revolution, the podcast dedicated to inspiring health coaches and clinic owners just like you to explore the heights of your potential in the digital era. I'm your host, Karen, and together we'll uncover the secrets behind successful digital transformations in the healthcare industry. Welcome to another episode of the podcast.
Hey.
Super excited for this one because, of course, I get to sit down here with Dr. Marcos and dive into his story and a bunch of good advice for you guys, I'm sure. He's the founder of Premier Health Institute, which he has grown over the last 3 years now.
Since June of 2021.
Yeah.
June of 2021. Yeah. So what is that? 2 years and a half still?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years.
2.5 years. And I have been lucky enough to be part of that journey really from day one.
Literally from day one.
Which is really cool for me. So why don't you let them know? Well, first, welcome.
Thank you guys for being here. I know there's going to be the fake applause in the background.
Yes.
But what's it called? My name is Marcos, Dr. Marcos. I've been here for quite some time. I mean, it sounds like a long time based off all like how much we've grown, which is really cool.
We've just done a lot in a short amount of time.
Yeah, because I believe in that. Like I believe, like like in regards to success, like imagine. I mean, again, I'm not saying I'm the guy or the example. But I'm saying like what I realize is like you have this. Like imagine you have this amount of steps to get to the finish line, right?
Yeah.
And the finish line is success. I don't know. Maybe hopefully I'm explaining that correctly, but like you could take those steps fast or slow, but you need 100 steps to get to whatever your goal is. So you can do it in 5 seconds or you can do it in 5 hours, right? Depends on how you want to do it. So yeah, we did a lot, but like it's like as if we did it for what some people do. I don't know, 5-10 years maybe. I don't know, and I don't really care. I'm going to do as much as I can, as fast as I can.
It's like the 10,000 hour thing, you know, like they say. I mean, it doesn't have to be 10,000 hours, but they say it's 10,000 hours to master something. So if you do 1 hour a week, that's going to take you years.
There you go.
But if you're doing like 12 hours a day of that, obviously that's going to be a lot shorter.
24 hours a day.
Yeah, 24 hours a day. So then you can fit a lot into a short amount of time. Sure. So we met before you started any of this. Where were you? Give us, I always love to start. I mean, I've heard your story before, but I like to start with your story. It's inspiring for a lot of people listening.
I started getting fired. That's how I started my story. Getting fired May 14th, 2021.
And I'm really glad, I will just say that he didn't tell me that when he came to
I don't remember. What was it? I just pretend I was like I was a hotshot or something like that? I didn't know that. Okay, but what's it called? Yeah, typically I'm not under the like fake it till you make it. I'm like make it because you have no other choice. Like you have no other choice. So
you got fired from your job.
Fired from my job May 14th. It was a week before my birthday. Birthday is May 20th. I didn't tell my wife for like the first 3-4 hours. I'm like, man, and we went out to the fair. There's a little fair that we have, like farmer's market. And I was there with her and we're walking around and then we're eating. She's like, hey, what's wrong? You good? I'm like, no, I'm good. And I'm like, man, how am I going to pay? Again, I had my daughter was born March 7th, which is, coming up, but March 7th.
So she was about 3 months old.
3 months old. Yeah, man. I'm like, man, what am I going to do? We have a mortgage, payment on the mortgage. Luckily, my wife was still working at the time. But still, just me, again, this is me being whatever you want to call it, old school. I'm like, man, I got to provide for that. Right? She's helping out and she's partners and all that, but I need to provide. But man, what am I going to do? I just got fired. I've never been fired from anything in my life. Like, I've never failed from anything in my life. And it is what I thought, right? Looking back, there's always things that one could fail from or say you failed from. But point is, yes, I'm like, man, what the heck am I going to do? But I just knew I don't know why I had some sort of inner peace that I was going to be okay. But now it was like, hey, man, sink or swim. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Sink or swim. There's no other option. There's no other way. But right away, I was like, all right, man, what everyone does, right, let me go find a job. Let me get a safety net. I need a safety net.
Yeah.
Find a job. And thankfully, I was able to find a job. I interviewed. I was able to find a job.
In a chiropractic clinic.
Yeah. Exactly right. So I was working at a very, very successful chiropractic clinic. And then I got let go from there. It was mainly just, we didn't see eye to eye. Mainly income thing, but we'll get to that maybe later. But what's it called? Then I found another place that paid about the same. And with bonus, I had the opportunity to make about the same. I got the opportunity to be a clinical director at another clinic, but it was something completely different. I worked at a big neuropathy clinic that treats nerve damage, and then it was going to be just a chiropractic clinic. And I almost went for it because I was like, man, this would be good to learn the chiropractic side, which is funny because even though I'm a chiropractor, when I started working, I was like, I wanted to focus on the business side of things.
Yeah.
I didn't want to focus on the chiro, not because I didn't like chiros, because I already knew chiropractic. Like I feel like in school they teach us a lot of what to, like, how to adjust, how to palpate, how to treat people, diagnose people well. I feel like I got a good grip of that, but I had negative idea or zero grip on the business side, how to keep the lights on.
Which is like so many of the docs I see come through and that we work with, right? Like brilliant practitioners.
Yeah.
So good at treating
so
patients.
Much smarter than me by
getting like amazing results. Like so good when they get
experience,
to
like 30 years experience.
And caring and all those things. Yeah. But really struggle with the business side. So anyway, yes, they don't teach you any of that.
No, unfortunately, at least the school that I went to didn't teach any of that. It was almost like more so what I felt like they taught was more like, hey, you're just a helper of the MD, or you're just an assistant.
Yeah.
You're like an integral part, but just remember the MD is the boss, and you don't want to step on any toes. And I'm like, dude, I'm here to help the patient, man. I'm not here to step on any toes or not step on any toes. I'm here to help the patient.
Yeah.
And what happens. My goal is to be my goal is to be there when they come to me. I'm going to do whatever I can to get them better. I'm always of the Amazon mindset, the old school Amazon, the Amazon mindset of patient or customer experience comes first. Everything else will fall into place as long as you focus on customer experience or patient experience, making sure they have a good time before they start, while they're starting, and as they leave.
Yeah, because to be honest, otherwise you don't actually have a business.
Yeah,
like you almost don't. If you get, people run it for a short amount of time, but if you want a long-lasting business, you have to have happy customers, happy clients, happy patients, yes. 100%. You have to have some sort of business model that delivers amazing results to 100%. Be able to.
Yeah, and that means investing in your company first before you start. Investing in yourself and looking great and look at me, I made it, is investing in your company first. I mean, the interview that I saw from Amazon, maybe we'll pull up a clip of it later. Homeboy Jeff Bezos is on his beat up car, it's like an older car. The guy he was still trying to hold on to his hair for dear life, had like 3 strands that he combed over. He was being interviewed, right, by this guy who was super doubtful of that he was gonna succeed, that he was gonna get anywhere. And he asked him something along the lines of what's your number one thing that you focus on? Like customer experience.
Yeah.
Customer experience first. And so he was investing all that money into the business first, and he changed the game. He got the United States Postal Service to work on Saturdays and Sundays sometimes, which is crazy. They never did that. Maybe now it seems like common, but they didn't do that before. Or at least it wasn't common before.
Yeah.
You see them working there in their little blue hats, like that was Jeff Bezos who did that.
Yeah.
Because the customer experience, customer wants things now, because when they want it fast, they want it right away. Same thing for the patients. I always aim to can I give them the best results the fastest? Can I, and can these results be long lasting? And how can I help more people that aren't just in my 5-10 mile radius, always trying to expand? And then how can I incorporate anything else that will give them even better results of things that they may think they don't know or that they don't need, but that we know medically would help them 10 times more. That's always the thing. That's always the things that's always moving. That's where the 24 hours a day work comes in. The other stuff, like the doctor stuff, like when I see the patient again, most patients want to be cared for. They just want to be listened to, and they just want their main problem to be resolved.
Yeah.
You can do that. In a nutshell, those are 3 things. I know that's a lot easier said than done, but if we focus on that, everything else I think falls into place.
Yeah.
Everything else falls into place.
All right, so they offered you this job. Sounds good. It's got some good bonuses. You're going to be learning about chiropractic. What happened?
I went to 4 the interviews. It was like a bunch of interview processes, and I had to write a letter every time. Dude, why am I going to do this? But they're like, do it. It was like some agency that was helping the clinic find the doc. And I got the job, got the offer, got the contract, and I just had to press the DocuSign button, and then I was part of the clinic. I was gonna be the clinical director. I'm like,
so what changed your mind?
Man, I mean, I was talking to my wife. Man, I was talking to myself, talking to God. I'm like, man, I mean, again, this could be an opportunity. It's gonna be safe for sure. Nothing's gonna change. I'm gonna have exact the same salary.
Yeah.
No, I didn't skip a beat, right? I think it was like a month after that. So, and I got severance from the last job. So really, I didn't even lose any money at that point. I just stayed the same. So I would have just stayed the same. Just, all right, go working like normal. Because if I never got fired from anywhere, I'd just keep getting the same salary. I'm like, man. And then, my wife's like, dude, Amanda, I shouldn't say dude. I forgot what she said at the time. But she's like, so she noticed how miserable I was working for someone else. Because, and I was really big on like looking back at it now, analysis paralysis, where I was like, everything had to be perfect. Everything had to fall into line. I was doing business coaching a year before they let me go. Thank God they let me go. Cause I was, it was a year. Like, how much more do you need? He was breaking it down as simple as possible. but I just couldn't jump because I was too comfortable.
Yeah.
I was too comfortable. But I was miserable at the same time.
Yes.
Man, it was horrendous. You know.
Yeah, but you can be miserable and comfortable. I feel like a lot of people out there
99%
are miserable and comfortable.
99%.
It's amazing how much like comfort is just so.
Comfort is the enemy of success, in my opinion. Comfort is the enemy of success.
Yeah, but it's such a pull, right? Like comfort, like people can be miserable, but the uncomfortable is still worse than miserable for them, or they think it is.
Oh yeah,
it's like it's like scarier than miserable.
Scary.
Like
it's fear. It's fear.
Yeah,
people don't succeed out of fear. It's what it is. It's out of fear. It's the main emotion there that stops people from taking that second step. Is fear. That was me. I had to get pushed off. Remember, I didn't take that step. I got pushed off. And I was like, what am I going to do about it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got pushed out. Or else I probably would have still been there, miserable. But it is what it is, right? So, thankfully, I got fired. I always say that. Thank God. Thank the Lord I got fired. But what's it called? Yeah, so then, I was going to sign. And then I talked to my wife. My aunt came over as well, talked to me. He's like, dude, you need to take that leap. And I'm always pretty, I look at it back now. I feel like I still think too much about making a decision. But I look at it now, I'm always... Now,
you seem to do pretty good.
Yeah, I seem to do pretty good with the decisions that I make when I don't overthink it.
Yeah.
So,
but also, do you think that's practice? I know we're like detouring a bit, but I feel like I get better at making decisions fast and being okay with it. Maybe not being okay, like as I go. Yeah. Like the more you make decisions, the more you get better at like making more decisions.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
Right?
Like, yeah. Oh yeah. No, 1,000,000% because you're like, all right, how bad can it be? Like, so what I think about is like, what's the worst case scenario?
Yes.
If I, whatever, in this investment, I lose 100% of it. What's the worst case? Will I be able to survive? So here's the thing. Once you start making a certain amount of income, it's just like any, even if let's say you start at 10,000, 20,000, 30, the cool thing is that imagine like the Mario games, the video games, where you reach the little tower and then you make the next one. And then if you die on that one, you just go back to this tower. You don't go back to the beginning of the game. That's the same thing. It's like, it's a new level. Is that
yes. Yeah.
It's like that. You learn how to make like what I say is obviously there's always, what's it called? Scenarios that isn't true, but the majority of times, like, it's the new level. So you learn the skills to make this income.
Yeah.
So let's say you get fired or you invest this money and you lose it. The minimum you're going to make is this amount of income.
Yeah.
So if you get to that next level, you lose it, whatever, you may get fired, start from zero, but you know what it takes to get this level of income.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, and I was young, young. I mean, I was, when was it? Like, 28? No, it was 27, right before I turned 28. I was like, man, I'm 27. If I fail, dude, like,
you've still got,
I just got a job offer like in a month of me trying.
Yeah.
And that was just me, trying obviously intensely because whatever I do, I go full all in. I go as intense as I can. As you can see by my hands and my eye motion. Psychopathic guys. But yeah. So I'm like, I know I'm not going to fail. Worst case scenario, I'm going to make sure my kids are okay.
And you know what I love even more than worst case? It was actually another Jeff Bezos, thing, which is funny that you brought him up before. But he said when he was making the decision, because he was like an engineer and he had like this safe engineering job, right? And then he decided to do Amazon. Yeah. And what he said was actually, he apparently, because I don't know, it's the way he wrote out this big thing or whatever, but in the end it was to look at not what's the worst case, but what am I going to regret the most? Like, what will I regret least or most? Like, so am I going to regret, like, okay, losing, like, let's say he was going to try it for 3 years or 5 years. Am I going to regret losing this amount of money? Like, so this, if I went down this thing, what's the worst? What would I regret on this side? And then this side, not trying, like, what am I going to regret the most, right? And he would always be like, okay, well, I'm going to regret not trying more than I'm going to regret losing all this money here. 100%. So I feel like I'm going to go down this route knowing that, yep, I could lose this money or lose this whatever, but it was still less of a regret. It was less of a regret than that. Once I read that, I think about that all the time. What am I going to regret? Like, is there going to be any, which am I going to regret the least? Like, which one am I going to regret the most? Like, because you do, like, you'll regret not, I think almost always.
That's what kills
you'll
people
regret not trying more than you will regret failing.
When you see you see someone dead inside or just like mad at life, it's that. It's usually regret from not trying or what could have been, or man, you always hear those uncles. If you ever, most people have an uncle that could have been a professional athlete. But they hurt their shoulder right at the last minute. Like, oh, regret. You can see it in their eyes every time they watch a rugby game or a soccer game, or in my case, soccer games. I could have been me, but I hurt my ankle that one day. Like, dude. So, but you see like that sadness and the regret, of really not trying. What in reality, what they regret was not actually giving their 100% to make it or whatever. Same thing in business. Not
taking the risk.
Not taking the actual risk of actually doing and putting their 100% effort. They put a little bit of effort. They were maybe good, amongst their friends, and I could have made it. Like, dude. So, like, same thing. because they didn't try. So same thing, like you see a lot of these, a lot of older folks, and you see like the ones, they're working at 75, 80 years old, whatever. And you see them, man, like, again, if they own their own business, it's okay. And usually you see the difference of an 85-year-old who owns his own business and an 85-year-old who has to work for someone, man. One is a lot more dead inside.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because what could have been, what could have not been, even if they tried something and they failed and then they gave up after that, right? It's not a failure unless you actually give up. Yeah. It's not a failure. It's a lesson. You only fail if you quit. If you don't quit, it's just another lesson that you're learning in the meantime. It's like, you're going to get there, just how many hurdles are you going to have to jump through?
I always say that's going to make a good story later. You need a story, right?
Yeah,
so you're collecting stories.
100%.
Hey, that one didn't work. It's going to make a really good story when I tell somebody later.
Yeah.
All right. So you decide you're not going to take the job. You're going to take the leak and you're actually going to start your own clinic.
Yep.
But you actually decided to start with a virtual clinic. How did that idea?
So the idea was because when I was working at the other clinic, they had 5 clinics, and obviously they weren't necessarily close to where I could just go next door and help. But the thing for me is I was the only one in the company that spoke Spanish, or at least like 100% the only doctor that spoke Spanish. Yeah, I think I was the only one in the company that spoke fluent Spanish. And they had 5 clinics. One was like 8 hours away. One was an hour out. This is Los Angeles. So everything is an hour away
at least.
One was actually 8 hours away. No joke. But it was insane. So
I'm learning this.
What happened when they had what? Yeah, like a 5-minute, you want to go to the restroom, it's an hour away.
It's like an hour away.
Kitchen to the restroom.
Yeah.
But what's it called? So they were asking, so when patients were coming in these other offices that had Spanish, they were able to get by it to, do an exam, that you don't need too much talking, but when it's to explain the level of severity, to explain the condition, to explain the treatment protocol, they needed, you had to go a little bit more in depth. Either that or pay for a translator. They didn't want to pay for a translator. So, okay, so all good. So then I just started to, take these calls virtually because they were in the clinic. They were literally sitting in chairs like this, and I was just on my computer.
Yeah.
And just explaining what the doctor found, who did the exam at the time. I was just explaining what his results were and what his exams were and what the protocol would be. And it was working. And I was just signing them out. Again, I had zero sales experience. In my household, being seller, sketchy. Some old school values. All sales guys are like used car sales, the old school used car salesmen, sketchy and all dodgy. That stuff. They're all dodgy and like that. Sales is bad. And for me, I never knew how to sell. We never had an entrepreneur in my immediate family who owned a business, right? We tried. My father and mother, they're the reason why I'm here today. But, they didn't have the experience because all the risk that they took coming from another country to here, they didn't have that opportunity. So I didn't necessarily know where to learn from. So, and had no idea. Again, I went into medical because I had no idea. The most I sold.
So everyone was dodgy.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, well, not really. Yeah. So everyone was dodgy.
Yes, but you didn't have an entrepreneur in your immediate family
didn't. So,
as an example from. I was really the same. My parents are like government workers their entire life. It's hard when you don't have an example.
Like what's a business loan?
Yeah.
How do you pay rent?
Yes.
For me, it was like, dude, how the heck can you pay for anher employee if you can barely make it yourself?
Yes.
Like, how's that going to work? Do I eat? Does he eat first? Like, what do we do? Do we just share things? Like, how to hire? When do I hire? There's so many things that go into owning a business.
Yes.
That I had no idea about, and I still have no idea. Some stuff you learn as you go, type of thing. It's sink or swim every day. It's not just that one time.
But that's the thing. You know what? I don't know. Do you ever really feel that there's always the next thing that you don't know? Like, people get really stuck because they don't know, but like, don't you still feel like you don't know?
100%. So when Mario makes the next level, you don't know what the next level is going to be about, but you know that if you lose on that level, you're just going to go back to where you were originally, and then you try 15 times. You try 15 times, you're going to make it eventually. You'll get the princess eventually, right? So same thing. So that's why, eventually you learn, because here's the thing. Ideally, you don't know what's up next. I mean, not in that sense of like you just go blind. But ideally, you're growing so much and so fast that you have to adapt quickly and learn quickly. But again, a lot of the skills that you learn transfer over.
Yeah.
Which is maybe it's now it'll be more brain stuff versus physical stuff. But it's a couple of tweaks here and there, and mentors and learning and being good at copying not reinventing the wheel, just trying to make the wheel a little bit better and a little bit faster.
Yeah. How important do you think that is, having mentors or someone at least to be able to help you with different pieces?
I like it. I mean, I don't know if I could say throughout my time I've had mentors here and there, but a lot of it for me, what I realize, it's what I do what I think I do is I'm really good at copying what works, I think, or just seeing what's working and seeing what's not working. My main thing is what doesn't work is what I care about the most, and then making it my own, and putting my own spin to it, I guess. And then, all right, now I'm at this level. Okay, who's on this level? Okay, that I want to be at. All right, let me find that person. Let me mimic and understand and learn his style, the way he moves, thinks, breathes, eats, sleeps, works in business. All right, great. All right, now I do it my way because I can't be the same. I'm not a clone. And then bring my okay. Now I'm here. Okay, who's the next person? Who's the next person? And that's for me what I use to grow. I need constant. This is just me and the way I think. I constantly need competition. If I don't have competition, I don't have competition, I sort of die inside. Like I need it, even if they don't even know they're competing with me. In my mind, I'm like, man, I gotta beat this guy. And like not beat this guy, like put him down. I actually help a lot of people. I love to help people.
Many people.
But I like to find who's the next person.
So many people.
It's never a competition. Like I'm gonna put. Actually, I want you to see you succeed. I want you to succeed even more. And then as soon as I get there, I like bringing people with me. Hey man, look, this is what I'm doing.
You
this is
really
what's working.
do.
Like
you really,
look, this is why it works.
Do.
This is how I'm doing it. Like I hide no secrets. Like there's nothing, because for me, again, so far I haven't been bitten in the ass for that. And hopefully it doesn't happen, right? But like I like to share a lot of the stuff that I do. Like in any aspect of my business or multiple businesses, it's like, look, dude, guys, this is working. Like, come on, do it with me, because you guys could also make money as well.
Yeah.
But then there's those, and then I this was a problem of mine. And close family members had to tell me to like stop it, because I was more invested in their success than they were. And I was getting upset for them not being successful or like not doing it, when I'm literally giving the blueprint that I had to learn the hard way. I'm laying it out for you to just do it. Like, why don't you want to be successful? And I was getting like upset, and it was like affecting my day. My wife's like, dude, if they don't care, they don't. I'm like, and so then, I only learned that now.
People do that about health and business. People do that about, what I'm trying to say is that gets frustrating with people's health too. I'm sure you might have had like a family member or something. Right, it's the same with
I tell my dad or my mom.
You lay it out. Hey, if you just do these couple of things, you're gonna be able to get off some of that medication or feel better. And
you're never profiting your own home. Unfortunately, that saying has never proven me wrong. Like I'm like Dad. Dude, people pay me sometimes thousands of dollars for what I'm literally giving you. I'm losing, not necessarily losing so much my family, but I'm investing, and you're not doing it. Yes. Like, dude, what? Like, okay, so every once in a while when they ask me advice, I know you got to pay me. So you're not going to do it unless you pay me. Unfortunately, obviously, I'm always going to give the money. But if that was the case, that's never happened, because you're never profiting your own home. You're still their kid. You're still their little nephew that they would throw in the pool. Like, who the heck are you?
Yeah.
Like, dude, people pay me thousands for this. But hey, you do what you got to do. Unfortunately.
That's very true.
But so I was getting more invested in their health and in their success.
I know.
But that's what I like to do. Me personally, I think that's what works for me. I have to be in constant competition with myself, because it's always with myself at the end of the day. How can I learn what this person is doing?
Yes.
And doing my way and doing it better, and it's never the same thing. Again, it's never like I'm just looking at chiropractors. Actually, almost never. The way I like to work in the business, sure, I could use them maybe for competition. Like, this guy's collecting this money, even if it's not in the same field. Like, let's say one just does adjustments all day. I do neuropathy. Someone does whatever, the functional medicine or whatever it is, diabetes, that has nothing to do with me. I'll maybe use them for like their income so I can compete. Like, man, I want to make as much collection, but okay, how can I get there? All right, I need to learn how to give a better customer experience. All right, how can I bring things faster? Let me observe Amazon business style. I like for speed and efficiency. Okay, let me observe, Elon Musk. There's just an example playing on the top of my head now for being innovative.
What, like thinking big?
Thinking big, there's just examples. Or like even like In-N-Out burger. How to get patients in and out quickly.
Yes.
And efficiently, and like having that optimal customer service, because like they really bring a smile to their face. Trader Joe's, again, I'm in LA, so I'm naming all the local stuff. Yeah. My wife went yesterday to with the kids to shop for the first time in Trader Joe's yesterday in a long time. I didn't even know this, but she went with the cart, and she went with the stroller, because she has two babies, so she had to put stuff in the cart and in the bottom of the stroller, and at the end. The guy's like, the cashier's like, hey, like, why didn't you just tell us? And we would have someone literally walk with you during your whole time. I'm like, wow, because this is a big company. These guys make millions. Like, why do they care about just one person? but they go that extra
but
mile.
if they do that, like, I mean, if somebody would do that with me, a baby in a stroller and push my trolley, like, I would go every day. Like, that would be the only place I would shop, right? It's huge.
100%.
So if they, and then you tell everybody.
She told me, I just told them this podcast is going everywhere, right? And again, that wasn't their intention. They literally genuinely want the patient to have a good, or the customer to have a good experience.
Yeah.
That's what they're aiming for. Again, they're aiming for customer experience. In a way, they lose money hourly if the person just standing there for an hour while some lady with 2 kids, one crying probably and the other one smelling like poop, is just walking around, right? But here they are again, where they could be doing something else, but that alone causes that free marketing for them.
Yes,
but not only that,
marketing,
that loyalty of your brand.
Yeah.
Right? There's 3 brands that I really like for like customer experience, or just like that immediate. Chick-fil-A.
Now Chick-fil-A's famous.
They're famous for, my pleasure. Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out, in my opinion, and Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, like for that immediate, like that one-on-one, that very, even though they're a big corporation, they still sound like your local shop type of thing.
Yeah.
They know you, they care about you type, like at least they make you feel that way.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and that's what I wanted. So like for customer experience, none of those are in the healthcare industry.
No.
But it helps to,
like the opposite.
but it's a piece of what I need. So don't only try to copy, or at least in my opinion, like, okay, I'm in the healthcare, I'm only gonna do stuff to healthcare. Like, let me mimic Kaiser. There's another example. I use Kaiser for the logo, like the blue and white logo, because what I learned, or what I saw, most medical logos are blue. Why? Because that's a color of trust or something like that. So I'm like, all right. So you get a combination. You got to be good at finding the patterns.
Yeah.
For me, the patterns. So life, in my opinion, life in general, the world, life is just a bunch of patterns. That's all it is. A bunch of patterns throughout time.
History is too, right?
So if you're good at reading patterns, I think it really helps you get ahead of the game a little bit more, because you can catch on the pattern. How's that person act? How are they saying? What are they saying when they smile, when they don't smile? What color is this? What's the shape? What's the font? Like every little thing. When do they smile? What do they say? Why are they saying it there? Like every little bits and pieces. When to invest more? When to invest less? When to invest in something else? When to hire? When to not hire? Every little bits of the pieces. These are all patterns, man. You can see the same patterns in multiple different industries. So look at the ones that you think is successful and try to mimic those. Again, don't reinvent the wheel. They didn't reinvent the wheel. They just put their spin on it, and you're going to put your spin on it. You have to be good at catching those patterns, I think.
Yeah. And I love that you're looking outside of healthcare. Like
always.
Yeah.
Like healthcare is one part of the puzzle. But there's other industries that have good stuff. I mean, and same thing for other businesses. Like they look at stuff outside of their business. Usually the number one the number one business in that industry, they had to be innovative, so they had to find something else, right? Because they had no one to copy. Maybe up to get to a certain point, but then when you really blow them out the water, they have to copy other things, right? They had to copy maybe from other industries, or else you're stuck. You're stagnant, right?
And so these examples, I mean, these are just like around your area, but do you also like find examples in like books, or are there some awesome ones that you've read? Are you just looking in your life? How else are you learning about maybe these different examples that might be good to bring into your business?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to just like, look at obviously the cliche stuff, the business podcast, motivational podcast. To be honest, I'm not too big on motivational stuff, like stuff that just pump you up and hype you up the whole time. For me, it's like, if I can't hype myself up more than anyone else, then what am I doing? I don't need something else to hype me up. I should be hyping myself up every single time, more and more and more.
What do you think makes you be able to hype yourself up when other people can't? Like, you are able to help hype yourself up. Like, you stay motivated. And I agree with you 100%. But do you think there's anything that I don't know, anything you can help people grow up with that helps with that, or do you think it's just you're born with it?
Well, I guess use something for motivation. Of course, I use something to motivate my family, my dad, my mom. For me, I just always feel like I don't have time, and for me that came more along my dad's health when I was very little. It was 2001 when he was diagnosed with cancer. I mean, I talk about this in my webinars actually that I do with the patients, but that for me internally, right? Because I was 8 years old. I was 8 years old at the time. I didn't even know. I was 8 or 7 years old. I didn't know that he was health, that he had only 6 months to live, is what they told him. That he had all this cancer. I didn't know what all that was, right? I remember when he came back from his kidney surgery. I had a soccer game that day. I'm like, Dad, why aren't you taking me? And he's like, everyone's like carrying him in. I'm like, and I was crying because he wasn't taking me to my game. Like, dude, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, get up. Like that's how naive I was. But internally, I think it just stimulated that sense of urgency that, like, I don't know how long he's going to have left to live. Like every phone, and this still happens till today. Every phone call that I get from my mother, I was like, crap, like what happened to my dad? And it's never about thank God, it's usually never about my dad. It's always just like, hey, how you doing? Or what's up? How are the kids? But for me, every phone call I get is like, is this today? Like, what's happening? Like, this is like till today. It's over 23 years now, and this every single day.
Yeah,
that's just the way. So for me, it's like I don't have time. I want to make sure he experiences all these things. I want to make sure my mom is able to retire. I want to make sure they have experience having their house paid off. I want to experience them going to Europe. I want to experience them traveling. I want them to experience them having cars paid off or everything, or their retirement does not have to. So like I feel like, man, I'm on a time crunch. I'm on time. I can't stop. So I can't sleep. Or I can't.
He doesn't.
I feel like I can't slack off because like,
yeah.
Is this the day? Is this the day?
Wow.
Hey, at least I gave him the best life that I think I could have given him. I know it's a lot of like the parents want to do that to the kids, but the kids, see all the hard work that the parents do, or at least for me, I see all the hard work that they put in, day out, nonstop, every single time, all the risks that they'd set again. People could be comfortable, like we're talking about comfort, being in their own country, but again, at least for me, South America, Brazil, which is where my parents are from. Yeah, it's they could have made a good life. My mom, every once in a while, she's like, every time she has like a tough day or something, she's like, I could have been retired 10 years ago.
Yeah.
My friends that I see on Facebook in Brazil are all retired with good benefits because she was working a government job. Yes. My dad was working a good job, an okay job. Like they would have been well retired in their 40s, like late 40s, early 50s for sure. They're already 62. Here in the U.S., it's work till work. They're trying to increase the retirement age to get your benefits. So, just keep working until you die type of thing, and you can't really enjoy, especially more so in LA, I would say, California, is that very rushed.
Oh,
you know how it is here. You can't enjoy
into LA from another country. It is. It's so much.
No, it's like
so much more rushed than Australia.
Yeah, no. A common theme is like hurry up and relax. Like hurry up and relax. Like hurry up and relax. Like you got to rush to the place so you can relax maybe for an hour time. Then you got to go rush back to another place.
Yeah, be really chill, but like rush there.
Like you have to like plan to be chill. You can't just be like relaxed because you want to. Like or at least that's how it feels like. So for me, a lot of that self motivation was really came down to my dad and his health. That's what I think. But again, it could be the opposite. I could be like, my dad slacking off, which he wasn't. Again, the dude has he got cancer like 3-4 times in a row. Every time we would beat it 2 years later, bam, hey, we found something. Hey, bam, hey, let's surgery again, dialysis. Let's remove a kidney. Let's put another one in. Oh, this one now has cancer. All the time. So I'm like, man, I don't know how much time he has left. So I'm gonna have to do everything I can to make sure they both have the best life that at least that I could have given them. Yeah. I was 7, just 30. And it's just, and all this happened within the last 2-3 years that I was able to exponentially grow to where I can, thankfully I was able to, do exactly what I said. All those things are off. I was able to take my dad just on a trip just for a weekend to watch the Premier League, which was on our bucket list, or at least on his bucket list, to watch two very big games last year while I was working
in the
virtually.
UK, right?
In the UK, it was literally like a 4-day
while
trip.
You were working virtually. So you were closing cases while on
at 4 in the morning in London, and another one was at 3. Well, not another one. It was multiple. In Manchester United, and in Manchester, because we're watching the Manchester City versus Tottenham game. Yeah,
you had time for a call with your marketer while you were over there.
I did. Well, like, I know it's like I don't have time not to have the call, right? Like I have to keep it. That's the way I think about it. I don't have time to. Obviously, again, rest is important and all that, but again, I feel like I've always like man, like the water's like this close to my nose where I'm not going to be able to breathe. Like that's the way again, is that healthy or unhealthy? I don't know. Do I care? Don't care. I'm there to make sure my family has the best future, and that includes my parents. Like for me, I really include my parents, my wife's parents, their family. I just want to make sure that we're the ones that were able to do that for them. My joy, this is again, whatever your joy is, your motivation is. You want a fancy car, a fancy house. My joy is really seeing like my parents be able to relax, and my parents be able to have things paid off, or my wife be able to have whatever watch or whatever thing she wants, even though she's really not like that. I'm more trying to get her into like, hey, I think we make okay money now, or we can invest in something other than a $30 Walmart Timex. I think we can do something a little bit better than that now. And she's like, no, I don't know. Because we're not used to that, or at least me personally. Me personally, I would say I was, that bottom, at least in the U.S., where again there were some months we couldn't make rent, and rent was by the church. Like we lived in a home that the church lent us. Yeah. And we were paying very minimal rent, and sometimes we couldn't make that. And I didn't know because my parents did everything possible so we could have the best life, good food and whatnot. But like. But you could feel it, especially when you see other friends or the really mind-blowing thing was when I went to college here in the U.S. because college or university, it's like people have money. And luckily I went through a sports scholarship. I had a soccer scholarship, or else I wouldn't be able to go to university. I'd probably start with community. And you see these people, I was in London for the week, for the summer. I driving the BMWs. I didn't see that many BMWs in my life. It was just Toyota or a Honda, beat-up Honda that we had, or that's it. So it's like, man, people have money out there. Like, what the heck? I felt like out of place. I didn't know what to do. You know, I was like, sushi. I didn't have sushi till college. Like, we didn't know what sushi was. Like, I didn't know what sushi was. I didn't like sushi. I'm obsessed now, but you know, like sushi was like a rich people thing. Like, what, you're trying to be rich eating sushi? Like, what? Again, that was just the mindset that we had. That's the mindset I knew, because that's what we grew up with.
Yeah.
Just constantly being able to self motivate, because for me, I just always feel like I have no other choice. You got to succeed, or you got to succeed. There's no other choice.
But you know, even if you don't have something like that, you actually need to be able to self motivate to some level to be able to be successful.
Yeah.
Like, there's not going to be like, and whether you're listening to things and that helps you self motivate, whatever, fine. But you can't, there's not always going to be outside things to be able to help you be motivated.
No. Outside thing can maybe just boost a little bit, but it shouldn't be your main.
If you need
that to succeed, you're not going to succeed.
Yeah. And also maybe for somebody else out there, if they want to get there and maybe they don't have a story like that, but you should be able to find things in your own life that help, maybe, you know, helps you motivate to be able to get to where you want, or have a reason why you want to get to where you want to get to.
And then find a new reason if you need to later. For me, I mean, I really like the Michael Jordan series. I think it was in ESPN. I forget if it's in Netflix. But that one, like, he always has chips in his shoulder. Like, I'm like, dude, I relate. Obviously, a lot of people relate. A lot of these high level people relate, because, and in my opinion, that's how it is. Like, he created things. Dude was a psychopath in a good way. Like, he created reasons to have chip on his shoulder to just blow them out the water. And that's the same thing that I do, that I've done. Obviously, not having a word. You know, like, I didn't know how to name that, or, you know, but it's just that, like, again, I wasn't upset that someone was being more successful than me. I was like, why the hell are they that successful and I can't get there? Like, why not? So then I was like, all right, let me compete with them. Even to this day, clinics that are doing, you know, performing less than us, but if they have a good day or a better day than me by a couple dollars, I'm like, what the hell? Why aren't we blowing them out the water? So then the next day we blow them out the water. I don't want competition. I want them to be so far ahead that people to just give up trying. That's again, but at the same time, I help them.
But
so it's like, it's contradictory. Yeah, it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I'm trying to help them get to the level, but at the same time, I want to be super freaking.
Because you want more people at your level. It's like more fun to be able to have have that good competition, because also then you're like kind of almost learning together. You're able to be like,
there's always something you can learn from.
Whereas if somebody's always like stuck down here, it's hard to relate eventually almost.
Yeah. No,
like you start to be like, I'm going to try and bring you along,
Always
and then you're like,
everyone along.
Well, I almost can't relate to your mindset anymore. Like, I can't. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I mean, there's the I don't know. There's some quote out there, right? If you want to fly high, you need to let go of the things that are weighing you down.
Yeah,
right?
hard one though.
Simple. It's a hard. Oh, that's a very hard.
I think that's a hard.
But eventually it does become easy, because when you start doing it, again, just like anything in life, that first time is always the hardest.
Okay.
Second, third, then you get numb to it, and it's just like normal. You don't even know you're doing it. You know, that's why a lot of people think rich people are douchebags, because they, you know, they got numb to it, right? Before they were all, you know, whatever. You see them wearing fancy things. You just eventually they do get numb to it, or you will get numb to just a different lifestyle, because your mindset is completely changed, right? You ever talk to your high school friends again?
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. Like, you could tell the ones that stayed at home maybe during college, or again, not everybody. Okay, don't cancel me here. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, like, the ones who maybe, you know, never went to that next stage, never kept pushing. The one that peaked in high school. Or never went
anywhere. You're right. Like,
or never went. The one who peaked in high school. That one, I know that, because that's a real, that's a for sure. TikToks all over the place about that. You know, the ones that peaked in high school, like, you talk to them, you're like, oh my God, how did we hang out back in the day? You know, like, now you're like at this level, and then the same thing. Then you blow the ones out in college, then you blow out the ones in med school, wherever phase you are. Ideally, you don't want to peak anytime. Your peak is tomorrow. That's where your peak should be. It shouldn't be when I was in high school back in the day. My good days, like, dude, if I'm talking to someone like that, I'm slowly backing away as they're talking. It's like, back like that. Your best times are behind you. What am I doing talking to you then? My best times are going to be in front of me.
Especially, I mean, as your time becomes more limited, and that doesn't even have to be just in your businesses. I mean, you've got 2 young kids. Like, time becomes limited. It's also like the people I find anyway, the people you hang out with has to be like more important. Like, I found I hung out with, like, I kind of was traveling. I came back in Australia. I like caught up with some of my older friends, and I was just finding like But I was like, what? You know when you leave, you've like hung out for an hour and then you're like, oh, I feel like way more drained than when I went into that conversation.
100%. Like mentally
and I was
drained,
like, I can't hang out with you anymore because literally I've got limited time.
I lost 3 brain cells. So
and I was like, I want ones where I'm like, oh man, I gained like 10 brain cells. That was awesome. Or even just people that like light you up. It could be an exciting chat about your kids even. It doesn't even have to be business, but it's
emotionally, physically, psychologically.
Yeah, you're like, hey, I feel really good after that chat. I've got more energy than when I left it. I feel like, yeah, that was, you you just
100%, no,
you really got to protect I feel like there are like energy drainers and there are like energy givers.
So you have to protect what's called your thought units. Like you only have a limited amount of things you could think about.
Well, that is so true.
Like it's like if you break it down in most people don't think of a thought as like a unit or like what you're thinking about, but these are units. Just like your cup, there's only so much water you could put in that.
Yeah.
You could replace it with something a little bit dirtier, then eventually that water is useless, right? Same thing. You only have so many units that you can think or things that you could think about in your brain. You only, and that's up to you to what you do with that, right? Of course, we need to relax. We need to shut off. Very hard for certain people to do that. I think myself included, I can't. I feel like if I'm relaxing, like I'm not doing anything, that's just the way the way I think. It's a bad habit, probably unhealthy, but that's just the way I think. That's the way I think. And I can care less. But like that's how I like to live. I always think, all right, what's the next best thing? What else can I invest in? What else how can I help more people? How can I reach my goal a little bit faster? Like, can I get there a little bit faster? How can I, again, give back to my parents, to my family more? Because that's what brings me joy.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily buying things for me. It's seeing my parents, like, and my dad's like an old school dude. Like he won't say, I don't think he ever said like direct. No, yeah, he did. I can't say that. But like, it's not like his thank you, like I've probably spoken. Like what I said today here just in this time was more than I probably ever talked to my dad. Like a full conversation. He's very those old school dads say like 2 words, but you know how much he loves you by all the work that they put in and all the you can see it in his eyes and his wrinkles, that all the things that he's done and all the worries that he has of you, but he'll never tell you, he'll never admit it.
Never.
Very rarely will say thank you like directly, but you can see, you get that one glimpse of a smile and you're like, that right there was worth it. That was 1,000,000% worth it, because I know how much it means to them, even though he doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah.
Obviously, my mom's emotional and hugs and jumps around and gets all really excited.
Yeah, moms are different.
Yeah, she gets excited for both of them, and then my dad is like serious, but he enjoyed it and he appreciates it, and that when behind closed doors he's jumping like a 12-year-old cheerleader, so, which is what I care about. I don't care about. I just know that the work that I'm putting in is for them, for my family, for my future family, right? My great grandkids is the goal, but my parents as well. Always, for all the work that they put in for us.
I love that. And so talking about goals, what's your goal for Premier Health Institute or the future, or let's just even go 2024 if you've, where's it going? What's next?
The goal is to double again. Thankfully.
Well, where are we now?
What are we talking about?
We kind of, Premier Health.
Where are we now? What in what way?
How do you, have you got, depending how you want to measure it, revenue, cases helped, people you've been able to help with neuropathy, how do you measure now and set a goal actually? Is it have you got like a, we want to help this many people? Have you got we want to hit this much in collections?
Yeah. It's a combo of that, right? And again, as a business owner, I guess, as much you want to say you only want to do it for the patient, I get it. You also have a revenue goal you have to hit. Like at the end of the day, right? You can't be oblivious to that and say
it's okay to have that. Like we don't 100%. Always have to. You can have, you can care for your patients and have an amazing business that also allows you an amazing. They don't have to be, because I think some docs that I speak to really seem like they're like mutually exclusive, and they're not.
Because we can't be selling. Selling is a bad word. It's not.
But you can, and also charging enough for these people that come in actually makes them more committed to the health program. Like it can actually be, we can talk about money and care on our patients at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
I really
right.
think we
can. And it depends on what, and it depends. Are you generally trying to help them, and that's the cost, or are you trying to look into their pockets, right? Or are you trying to make money off of them? That's 2 things. And if you genuinely believe that you're worth that much, honestly, how much do you think you're worth? You think you're worth $40 an adjustment? Then that's how much you're worth. That's how much that's what your mindset's gonna believe. That's how you're gonna act. That's how you're gonna perform. like a $40 adjustment, or do you think you're worth whatever your case fee is $2,000-3,000 with a 24 adjustments because that's what you believe that they need to get better. You genuinely believe that. You're not just doing that for everybody, right? Or you're worth $11, $12, $15,000 for a case that does neuropathy that needs that you see gets 90% success. Like again, it's what
and
you
prevents
think.
their amputation and
Prevents
gives them their life back.
Exactly.
And
there's a bunch of reasons that you can sell yourself on why you think you're good or why you think you're only worth what you're worth. Again, you're only worth what you think you're worth. I could tell you, I could think you're worth $1, or you could think I'm worth nothing. And if I believe that, then I'm gonna start reacting that way and living my life that way. Like I'm not worth this, I'm not worth that, and my business is gonna perform like as if we're only worth this amount. Again, it's literally it's a mindset thing. It really is, because then you're only you're accountable to what you think you're worth in a way, right? If you think you should be making more than it, you're gonna react differently. You're gonna study differently. You're gonna look at other businesses differently. You're gonna ask different questions. You're gonna hang out with different people. You're gonna use every second of your day differently. If you think you're only worth what you're making now, then you're content, you're happy, and that's amazing. But again, comfort is the enemy of success. Okay?
Yeah.
Comfort is the enemy of success. It's very hard to have a little bit of both. Again, if you want to keep going, if you're comfortable where you are, then that's great. But remember, it's very hard to become more successful if you're good there, because why would you do anything else if you're good where you are?
No, there has to be some level of uncomfortableness to get to the next stage.
To
get that Mario's uncomfortable getting to that next level to the princess, right?
Yeah, like 100%.
Yeah, he's got to fight some whatever little dudes.
Some little turtles with the spikes. I don't know their names. You got to fight the little mushroom, the bad mushroom.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, if you want to keep growing, you got to keep moving. You got to keep. You can't be too comfortable, right? Any muscle, you got to tear it down so it can grow a little bit more, right? You got to tear it down so you grow more. Yeah.
So where are we now, and where are we going with it?
Well, yeah, the goal's to. So when we started, we didn't even get going to really start, but we started, at literally nothing. I was just in the kitchen, and then my dining room, which is dining room / kitchen. My wife would sometimes accidentally turn on the blender while I was talking to a patient. I'm like, dude, stop. With my little iPad, I had a little iPad that I got.
Which is one of the cool things about virtual, though. You literally can start anywhere. You can do it on your kitchen table. You don't need an office. You don't need equipment. You don't
literally all you
anything.
need is internet and a camera, a working camera.
Yeah,
that's it. That you can talk to your patient.
Yeah, well, you need a way or a solution within yourself to help people. Like you need to have some sort of protocol or thing can help people, and then you need a way to be able to get people to your consultation. And then really, that's all you need.
Yep.
Then you just need your computer.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And the reason why I started going virtual, even though I never did anything virtual besides those consultations, which for me, I didn't necessarily think of I could do this virtually while I was working there. But it was because I saw sort of the shift in the fact that everything in life right now in our world is virtual, except for healthcare. Healthcare is not 100% there yet, but it's going there.
It's going there.
Healthcare is going there. COVID just sped it up.
COVID sped it up. It's the only positive thing I think that kind of came out of COVID.
Yeah, it sped up. Yeah, the ability of people to know. Yeah, they don't have to go to the hospital. Yeah. So it not only sped it up, but it also made it normal. Like patients are just okay with having virtual. Before it's no, I need to be touched by the doctor. Nowadays, no, as long as the doctor understands my symptoms and I could communicate with them and they could communicate back what the solution is, I'm all in.
Yeah.
So that's what that did with virtual. So then I was I want to go virtual, right? So I want to try that because I don't want to be in the office. I was miserable in the office. Yeah. It's all right, can I and I know we're limited to a certain amount of radius, 5 to 10, 20 miles, 40 if you're well known in the area. 40 miles
to
drive. Which
is one of the cool things about virtual. I mean, help the whole of the US, help the whole world if you want to.
Help literally whoever
you're not
you want.
Contained to this little area around your office. You can literally, help anyone anywhere.
Help anyone anywhere with whatever as long as you can provide value and send the right message.
Yeah.
You have to be a good storyteller, and you'll be okay. Again, a good storyteller is not saying just your story and hoping people like it. It's saying it in the way that the people will like it. If that makes sense. You want to say it to the way that they understand it, and each person is different. Each person understands it a different way. Some prefer more motion. Some prefer just talking. Some prefer more imagery. Whatever it is knowing how to read your client, your prospect, your patient, and knowing how to translate it to them so that they understand. Maybe it's a lot of them more talking than you talking. Usually that's how it is because people like themselves more than they like you. So are they able to open up to you and come up with a solution themselves? You did your job.
And I hope you guys heard that because it is. Most of the time it's almost doing more listening than it is talking.
No one cares about you. They care about themselves.
They care. Everybody likes to talk. And everybody has an experience with their doctor where they haven't been able to. Because the doctor they have 2 minutes. The doctor just talks at them. they're not able to like really express themselves. So
They don't
if
even look at
you
them.
can,
They don't even look at them. They have a camera, you know, they're like not camera. The computer's on the wall. They're looking at the wall, just hearing what you're saying. Okay, all right, yeah. See you in 6 months. Take this pill. You know, call me if you're dying, and that's it, right? And that's pretty much it. So, just in anything, not just in healthcare, but especially virtually, you need to connect, right? Because you can't touch. You can't touch, right? They can't necessarily. So they can see you, but only a certain amount. So like 2 senses they're out of the way are out, right? Obviously, the only thing that they can't see is you. I'm saying they can't see the whole office, the whole vibes of the office, if you want to call it that. So 2 senses are out. You have the other 3 senses, but the main one is hearing and talking, right? So I think that's the same. No, taste. Never mind. Whatever. Right?
I had to think about that too. I was like,
wait a minute. Yeah. But point is, hearing is the main main sense that you use there. Hearing is the main sense that you use, and visual within the small thing. So that's why when you're just like monotone and not saying anything like this, blah 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 blah, patients are connecting. But I naturally use my hands a lot. My great grandpa was Italian. We're from Brazil. We hug, touch, kiss a lot. So I use my hands just naturally, and I think it clicks, at least with the population that I treat. Yeah. So you need to be able to listen. They need to be able to talk more.
You got to be able to listen.
They have to come up with a solution themselves. You just guide them there, sure. But they have to come up with a solution, because no one cares about what you have to say or about what I have to say, about how their future is going to be. No one cares if I say it. They only care if they say it, because then they come up with a solution. You don't believe me? Ask your 2-year-old, right? That doesn't want to do something. If you give them 2 options, you know, hey, do you want to eat bananas? No. Do you want to eat blueberries? No. Do you want to eat strawberries? No. Okay. Do you want to eat bananas or blueberries? Blueberries. Then they'll eat it, right? Because you gave them 2 options. Like, it's the same thing I just asked, but I asked it a different way.
Yes.
They came up with a choice. They were in control, so now they're all in. Right? That's again, I experienced literally like 2 minutes ago. So I know, you know, right before this podcast. So I'm not lying. But the point is, it translates to adults, right? It's the same thing. People want to feel in control of the situation, want to feel in control of their future. So if you're able to translate that, if you're able to transmit that to them, you just guide them along the path. Hey, you're the genius. You're the genius that helped them get there, but you know, that showed them the light, right? They came up with they chose to do it.
Yeah.
So they're more bought in because it was they came up with it. They're the genius if they get better, right? Which is great. Take it. I don't care. I don't care who's the genius. As long as you're getting better, my job is done.
100%.
I don't care who
Oh,
is.
yeah. So, no.
I'm the least important person in the room. Like all the time, every time. No one cares. I don't even care. It's like, are you in?
Yeah. Do you want to get better?
You want to get better?
Yeah.
You want to avoid these things because you're telling me you want to avoid these things.
Yeah.
You're comfortable doing the stuff that we came up with together. Great. You're all in. You're all in. You're going to follow.
And there's better compliance that way as well.
Always.
When they
came up with a solution.
Yeah.
They came up with a plan. They're the genius. Great. Do it.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
100%. All right. So you're at your kitchen table.
Kitchen table, man. I was like, and it's good. But at first, I didn't have that experience. I didn't have anyone to mimic. Remember, I feel like I'm okay following patterns, but I didn't know any patterns. I didn't know anything about the virtual space. I didn't know what a high ticket. I didn't even really know about a high ticket until later on. I didn't even know what I was doing was considered high ticket sales. So I didn't even know who to mimic there.
Yeah.
But I just knew that I was going to love the crap out of every patient that I saw. I just knew that the few patients I got at the time in the beginning, I was going to show them so much love and compassion that they had no other option because they saw how much I cared about them getting better. So that's all. Again, when in doubt, just love the crap out of your people that you're talking to. When in doubt.
Yeah.
When in doubt. Like show that, or at least transmit that to them. And again, you're not going to close everybody that way. Of course, there's a lot more techniques that go into that.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, when I don't know it, again, zero sales experience, zero what is high ticket, zero virtual experience.
Yeah.
It started working.
But you also invested in some people to help you, like myself included.
Oh,
like some people don't want to pay right up front. Like, hey, I've got nothing. I'm starting from scratch. I've just been fired. You know, so now I don't want to pay for marketing. I don't want to pay for advertising. Now I don't want to pay for all these things. Whereas you understood that, hey, you're going to need to
do it now because money's going to be running out.
Yeah.
Some people do it when they're like almost done with money. Okay, now I got an emergency. Now I got to invest. But you have less money now. So for me, it's like, dude, my money's going to run out. I have a month to come up with something. Again, fortunately, my wife was working. She's doing okay. But just, again, me, ego, old school, Latino, whatever you want to throw at me, it's okay. But I was like, dude, I need to be providing. I'm not going to ask money from my wife. I'm not going to take anything there. And to be honest, we didn't have much in the bank. We were just investing. We just bought the home like a couple months prior, like our first little starter home, you know. And that was the money that we had. Again, we weren't making a bunch of money. It was just enough to literally just buy the home. Now, like our biggest expense was the home, and then we just had a kid. So I just need to make sure she was okay. So we didn't have. It's not like we had money. We actually didn't have. I think I had total it was my severance check. It was $10,000, which is what they gave me.
Yeah.
$10,000 to make whatever happen. Right. And obviously what she was making, which again in California, taxes, so she was making okay, but it came down to we were using her money to we were using her money to live off of, and then my money at the time was to invest into our house, so to get enough to put the down payment on the house. And then we did that. I was like, holy crap. And then shortly after I got let go.
Yeah.
Like, oh crap. So I had a little bit of money there. I'm like, dude, okay, this money's gonna run out. I have to throw it into something that can make me at least the same. At least I'm breaking even. That's okay, because then next month we'll break even again, but I'm not going negative. Right? Because if you're not doing anything, you're dying. If you're not working out, your muscles are withering.
But then again, it took a minute to get your to get, I guess, everything to get your first close, to get everything converting. Because a lot of people, I mean, I talk to people now who have maybe heard of you and you're great at closing now, but they don't understand, like, actually, you know what, like, it wasn't like your very first.
The first 3 months I closed zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah, it took
3 months. So that
took a minute.
One webinar a week. So think about that way. What is that? No, at the first month it was like, dude, I don't have enough money to do the webinar. I'll do it every other week. I think it was like every other week. The first month, and after that was every week. So I'm like, all right, dude, my money's going. I was doing the opposite. I should have gone all in the very beginning. Yeah, the couple things like about Grant Cardone, 10x it, 10x it. You got to go all in 100%. And just, but the point is, so then we started going every week, and I wasn't closing anybody, man. It was like one live a week. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
No, it took a minute. So, but I mean, you persisted, which is
100%. I would call, man, how it is now compared to how it was in the beginning.
Also, you would hustle. I talk to people often that I'm like, okay, so we're gonna get you leads. Like some of these leads aren't gonna sign up. So we run cold ads to a webinar. On the webinar, we do an initial consultation on that, or a day one call, and then it's over to you. Yep. Sell your program, or sign people up, or do some lab tests, or whatever you want to do. But you get a lot of leads in that, and people are like, "Oh, I'm going to call them," and they never do. You were calling them,
because I have no other choice.
He's like, he actually does what he. But you actually say what you're going to do most of the time.
Yeah.
Actually say what you're going to do in terms of like ring these leads and hustle and get it going. Because if you're just starting out, you actually need to do some, there is some hustle there. There's a lot of stuff we can do with automations and
nowadays, man, in the beginning.
No, but even today, there's some part that you actually need to like hustle in the beginning.
Yeah. Dude, you always got to stop letting your success. Yeah. Stop putting your success on someone else's hand, man. Take control. Take control. That was my mindset. If I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail because I tried to 100%, and then it was a horrible decision, horrendous decision that I did, and I was just super blindsided by it. Right. But at least I didn't wait for someone else to call the lead. I didn't wait for someone else to text. I didn't wait for someone else to do the PowerPoint or whatever it may be. Like it's your money. It's your success. It's your future. Stop putting it on someone else's hands and then blaming them because it didn't work out. It's not their future. It's your future. You should blame yourself for anything that goes wrong. Blame yourself. Even if someone else took your money or whatever, did it bad, it was your fault for maybe picking that person or waiting that long to figure it out. It's not
always
their fault.
Your fault.
It's always my fault every single time.
Totally. But after a few months, it started to convert. You cracked the code.
So it's funny, right? So I panicked, right? So I'm like, crap, virtual. Then I think I freaking suck, or what is it? No one's doing it for a reason. Oh my gosh! I was hearing to all the naysayers that it wasn't going to work. So then I panicked and I paid for a 3-year lease. I signed a 3-year lease. I was driving around like, man, how can I afford a 3-year lease? I just freaking or 5. It was typically 5. Luckily, the only place I got was a 3-year lease, which is currently where we're at right now. It's in the back of a shopping center. There's no like sign outside. Second story in the back, in the middle of the hallway, a dark hallway. And I'm like, hey. So again, what I know, life is patterns. Everyone's doing the office. That was the reason why I tried virtual. I guess I suck at it. So hey, okay, let me sign the lease. Sign the lease. The next webinar. So I signed the lease for October 1st. I signed it 2 weeks prior. The guys were pretty quick on building. No, I signed it, September 1st. I was going to start October 1st. They gave me a month. The Tuesday prior, after where we did the webinar.
We crushed
We blew it up.
You got so many consults and started closing them.
Like, it was like a 70% close rate, which for me was, again, better than 0. Even if it was 10%, I would have been through the roof.
So he started crushing.
Oh, and I'm like, dude, I just signed a 3-year lease, and I didn't even know if I could get out of it or not, whatever. I didn't know much about anything, so I didn't know what a lease is, how to get in a lease, how to get out of a lease. I was just doing what I had to do, what I thought I had to do. Man, so then I'm like, all right, I got no other choice but to succeed in both. But then virtual started taking off, and I'm like, ugh. because I really wanted a virtual to work only so that I don't have to be in an office. I could be with my wife in Puerto Rico. That's where she's from. We can go to Brazil. I could be traveling, and just like I did with my dad. And we were in the UK, but we were closing cases, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Way less overhead. But again, I didn't know, so I started it. So then, what was I going to do? Was I going to fail in office and just keep virtual? Was I going to stop virtual and do an office? I'm like, nah, I'm going to try to do the best in both.
Yeah.
Do the best in both because I have no other choice. I'm not going to fail it either. I have no other choice. Time is ticking. So that's what we did.
But both are doing really well.
Both are doing phenomenal. Both are actually 50%, 50%.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful because when in office is down for some random reason, it rains in California, sprinkles like the great flood of Noah's Ark, right? People panic and no one goes out. Guess what? Virtual's kicking butt. It's always kicking butt. It's always the most consistent so far has been virtual. It's consistently going up. If it goes down a tad bit, but if you follow the line, it's always going up consistently, at least since 2021, since we started. And
you've been able to add, so when we talk about your virtual business, actually, you've been able to add salespeople in there. So the whole thing, although you still, do some closes yourself, the whole thing can really operate without you. It
operates on its own for last year.
We've got it in a real, the leads come in. It
automatically, I still oversee, of course, just because I like to be in the loop still. Because again, if I'm not doing anything, I'm like panicking. So I'm like, So I still like to see.
Consults, go automatically into your case manager's calendars. They do the consult. Now. Yeah.
There's a lot of learning from my end, learning from I would say maybe a little bit testing here with us just because of the amount of volume. So it's pretty cool. And anything you guys test, I'm always like, dude, test with me because whatever, we have the volume where we can test fast. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to figure it out and make it work. I'm not going to blame anybody.
We do. It's awesome. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Before, man, I would have to text every single patient. Hey, you come into my webinar? 500, 500 leads coming in per week. 500 text messages,
but
man.
He would text them.
But I would physically text them. Obviously, eventually I started creating templates, but I would still change the name because I wanted it to be personal. I didn't just want to send copy paste. Hey, Joanna. Hey, Maria. Hey, John. Hey.
We can send that out as a bulk.
I can't send
bulk text.
Yeah, well, at least with the software that we were using at the time, or at least I didn't know, I didn't care to waste time. I didn't know, and I didn't care. I was going to do it anyway, so I did it with everybody. And then the day before, let me call 500 leads or try to get as many leads as I can to make sure they know how to press on a Zoom button because maybe an 84-year-old, Johnny didn't know how to do that. So let me call 500 leads there, and again, it was just me calling on my cell phone, just whatever. I have no other choice. If you don't have money, you need to make time. You pay money to buy you time back. So if you don't have the money, you need to use your time.
Yeah.
Use your time first. Once you find out the money is used to buy your time back. That's what that is. So if you don't have money, then make time. Stop making excuses. Right? Making excuses is how you lose money. So,
yes.
So that's what I was doing. I had no other choice but to call everybody, but to text message everybody, but to respond to everybody's text. Remember, people start responding. Hey, by the way, I do have numbness and tingling. What do you? I'm like, dude, this is just a reminder text. But hey, what's up? All right, yeah, you do great. Why don't you book an appointment? Or hey, go to my webinar. Do you know how to press the webinar? Here's a screenshot of what a Zoom looks. This is the Zoom app. Did you download that? Literally, with 500 people every week because I had no other choice. I don't have a choice, and I didn't have a choice to fail. So that's.
But now you've been able to create that into a system.
Oh, now it's a beautiful automated thing. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. And it's so smooth. Except, like I said, I'm not even involved in that process anymore. I don't even know. All I look for is the calendar filled, and it's filled out 2-3 weeks out. Hey, we're good.
Yeah, and then when we bring another salesperson on, we can up and down the ad spend as we need to be able to. Hey, we've got somebody coming on. They've got 10 extra hours a week coming in that we need to fill. We go, all right, we need to up the ad spend to this much to be able to fill that much in the calendar. We go, we're good. Let's go. And
it's a beautiful thing because it's a math. So we got it down to the math. It's literally math, right? You can't math. As much as some people want to say math is racist, don't cast me out. It's not. I promise you, it's not. It's a very beautiful thing when you use it correctly. I'm getting you booted down to the for saying these things, but but the point of that is, if you get it down to a mathematical equation, it's an equation, man. So in other words, if you're looking at revenue, how much money do I want to make this month? It's almost down to that level of how we have it set up. How much do we want to make this month? You get all your stats, which is why you have to track all your stats. And the beautiful thing is that, Karen has all the stats down to literally when they look at your webinar.
And if your marketer isn't giving you stats, you need to ask them to give you stats. They should be giving you stats. I mean, they don't have to go to this level. We literally track things daily for Premier Health Institute. Like we've got daily stats that are updated every day so that we can see what's coming in. And then especially as your ad spend goes higher and higher, you do kind of need to be able to make sure you're looking at it at a really regular basis. And as I said, for us, that's every day, because things change. If he drops for a couple of days, like that has a big impact in like being able to fill the sales team's calendar. And so we want to be able to respond to things that are changing really quickly.
Every time. Yeah, every time. And no, and it's not that they shouldn't. They absolutely should go to this level because you're their customer.
Yeah,
and if you know, provide the best provide the best customer experience,
we were talking about
you
that.
succeed.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
They should. Yeah. So I mean, just her being humble, like, oh, you know, we do a lot. No, but you should. You know, that's the whole point, right? Yeah, you want to be the best in your game. The market wants to be the best, or they claim to give you all these leads. Okay, great, but you need the stats because again, that's almost hypocritical of you not to have the stats of your own business. How do you prescribe patients? How do you know what to give the patient without knowing their scores, their labs, their results? The same thing. Your business is a living being. You need to be able to prescribe. You need to be able to diagnose what the problem is. So you have to know every aspect of your business, what's not working, what is working. You need to know that right away.
Yes.
And the beauty is that when we have it, you know, daily, like every time we work with Karen, I could call tomorrow. Hey, what's happening right here? What do you think? Or how was the webinar for the last hour? And they have the stats for that, like 24/7. It feels like, which is what I like because I like to work 24/7.
Because as I said, as you spend more and more, then you're getting. It's kind of like what we were talking about, is you can do a lot fast if you've got a bigger budget. So things change quickly.
Exactly.
Once you get like a big volume, but that means you need to look at it
snowball
more
effect.
often to make sure it's
a snowball effect.
Working good.
With it just starts to grow on its own. Yeah, 100%. And we were talking about that. What's it called? What were we just talking about? What we're just talking about right now? We were talking about stats. Wow, what was I saying? Yeah. That we're talking about stats. Follow, like, and subscribe.
Follow, like, and subscribe.
There's a reason for that. But the point is that you have to know your stats, guys. You have to know your stats on a daily basis.
So what do you
mathematical equation? There you go. So like, if you think about revenue, or if you think about how many patients you want to treat, it's just a math, right? How much money do we want to make this month, or this how much we have to invest to get this much amount of revenue, so that you can help people like her have the best future possible, right?
All right. Well, we've been talking for a long time. We could continue to talk for a long time. So last question. Okay, if you had to go back in time, what would be what would you do differently? What are some of have you got like a couple of key things that somebody who's starting out, who's where you were when you were on that couch, should remember? On that couch, on that table, starting out.
I mean, me, just first thing on my head, feel suffocated. Feel like you're suffocating every day. Every day. That's the way I think. Not I'm actually, but that's I know it's a weird one, but every day you don't have time. You gotta keep it moving. You can't slow down. You can't, whatever cliche phrase you want to use there, but feel like you're suffocating. In regards to
keep taking a step forward every day.
I feel like you're suffocating is better. Fear. People work off of fear. Feel like you're suffocating.
Okay, all right.
Keep taking a step. I'm trying to motivate you. You know, it's all nice, but you're suffocating every day, financially, in person, whatever it is. You have a choice. You're going to swim, or you're going to keep suffocating. And eventually, there's only so much you can suffocate. That's a lot of suffocate. But the point is, you got to keep going, man. You have to keep moving. If you think your business isn't going to succeed, or if you think you won't be able to make it,
you're right.
You're right. But drive, like a good motivation. Again, one of the things that motivated me to really help me, press the button, or to say yes, I'm going to do it, or to just go all in, is, at least here in the U.S., or at least in California, you drive by any like local strip club. We'll take that out. I was gonna say strip mall, strip mall. I said drive by any local like strip is what I'm saying. And what's it called? You'll see like 4 or 5 nail salons is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And like together, how do they all survive? If you go in, there's a bunch of people working there.
Yes.
There's a bunch of people working there.
And people always tell me it's too saturated. I can't do this now. It's too saturated. Think about the nail salon. It's so true.
For me, go drive down the strip. Take out what I said about Strickland. Whatever. But what's it called? Like there's 4 or 5 nail salons there, and they're all there, and they've been there for 10, 15 years, and they're all surviving, and they have multiple employees, and everyone's running and moving, and they have clientele there every time. And sometimes they may be empty, but they've been there for 20, 15 years. So at least unless they're like a money laundry front, which I doubt, it works. People are going to go to you regardless, as long as you be consistent, which is what they show. You provide some sort of client experience, which is what they also provide. And you're consistent with what you do, and they know what the outcome is going to be. They're going to go to you eventually. So don't, again, they only fail if they close down their shop. You only fail if you stop. If you don't. And what's even bigger failure, which comes down to regret at the end is if you never even start.
Yeah.
If you're ever concerned, drive by and see how many. So I do this with my wife a lot. We walk every time we go walking down the strip or the local at our farmers market when we go. Sometimes we see the stores. We play like it's not necessarily that it's not a game we play, but we walk by like we call those like the money laundry stores. Like these are the money laundry. Like there's no like in other words, there's no way they could be surviving for this long. Like I see one that's like a shoe like they make shoes for you like old school like they'll repair your shoes like no one really does that nowadays. It was definitely a thing back in the day, but no one does. They've been there since 1972.
Yeah,
and they're still there. Like and I never see them open. That's the crazier part. So maybe
if they can do it, you can do it.
If they can do it, guys, you can do it. You go there, you see another one like an antique, like it was very specific, an antique kids clothing store. Like how the heck are they still there for so long? Again, if they can do it, there's no way with all the technology out there, with all the innovations that you have, with the different mindset that you have, that you can't succeed. There's no way. There's no way. Yes. You just have to but you do have to do it though. You can't.
You have to start.
You have to start.
You have to keep going, and you have to keep overcoming each hurdle as you go. So you have to don't let your mindset get in the way. Feel like you're suffocating.
Feel like you're suffocating. You are.
And
you don't have time.
Keep moving forward, and try to remember that the people that are successful now. I get docs who say, "Oh, okay, Dr. Marcos is at this level," but they all think that you were there immediately.
Easy,
so
also
remember that it did take. It took some time. It took some consistency. It took some risk. It took keep going forward to be able to get there. Nobody actually, got there in 1 minute.
I got my license 4 years ago. It was 4 years ago since I got my license. Oh no, sorry. What is it? Now it's 5. Yeah, 5 because it was Valentine's Day, February 14th when I got officially the license. I passed the ethics exam, whatever boards, all that stuff, and I got my license February 14th. I graduated December 2018. I took my ethics exam and got February 14th. I got my license of 2019. So it's been only 5 years. So I have way less experience than most doctors. Yes. Again, and this is now. Again, when I started, when we hit our first, I don't know if we want to talk finance, but I hit my goal. See, so here's the thing. My goal was to beat my uncle. My uncle had nothing in chiropractic, but he had a really big successful business, and he always said how he made his first million when he was 29. That was his thing. He made his first. He did debt consolidation things again. Very innovative, very 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 go getter. He did a combination of everything, anything you can think of in like a typical.
So you wanted to hit your first million.
But before 29, so I hit 2 before 29. So that was his thing.
Before 29.
So we got again. I got my license. I was so when was that? That was a year and a half ago was when we officially did that. So we went from that first year. We opened in October, or I started June. But remember, I didn't close for 3 months. So June, July, August comes after. So August I think was my first close of virtual, and then that's when I sent. Or no, it was July that we started. July, whatever. Point is that September 1st when I said I signed the lease was when we first closed. So that year I don't know, we made probably total maybe like 100K within those 3 or 4 months. But again, that's just collections. Year after that, we did 2.2 million. So that was 2 years ago, 2022. So we went from 100 to 2.2 million. Year after that, we did 5.2 something, 5.27. This was this past year, and the goal this year is to double that if we can.
So 10 mil this year.
Again, way less experience than most people. Significantly less clinical experience than most people. I'm usually the dumbest person in the room. And I love asking dumb questions. So because that's another thing.
I love asking dumb questions.
There's no such thing as dumb questions, man.
Because I used to be scared of asking the dumb questions.
My gosh.
And then I realized, I don't know, it's so much better if you just ask them, because they're never a dumb question. And also that means you have smarter people in the room, and that's way better. I'm the same. I'm so often the dumbest person.
Dude, I love being the dumbest person
in my team meetings. You guys are so much smarter than me.
First thing I start when a new person that I meet, or a new business that is gonna give me, provide me a mentor or whatever advice. Guys, I'm gonna ask you the stupidest questions
all the time.
Just pretend I'm a 3-year-old. I loved Michael Scott from The Office. Can you tell me I'm a 5-year-old? And then they explain it's what if I was a 3-year-old? I would explain that, something along those lines. What he said, I love that because honestly for me it's there's no, and whatever you're thinking, if you're not sure, dude, don't act like you know it, because then it'll affect you. It's only going to affect you. Again, take control of your own success. So be the dumbest person in the room. It's okay. It's only going to get you to that next level. And if you feel like you're the smartest person in the room, you got to move. You got to go to
rooms.
Go to the next room because you're ready. You already surpassed that room. Go to the next room. So the goal this year is to double that. There's a couple of things that we're doing, seeing a lot more patients. Last year alone, we saw about 5,000 patients. This year alone, this year we're trying to get to that 8 to 10,000 patient mark, but profiting more. We're focusing on profit. Although the last couple of years, every year so far we've broken 50% profits. So the goal there is to can we be profitable as well while helping patients, while more importantly while getting the patients the life that they deserve, that they want. That's the main thing. Can we do it with a bigger team so we can give them a better customer experience and kind of add more protocols, again, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, that can help them succeed faster and last longer. So their relief, their cure, whatever you want to say, lasts longer, and that they feel like they're now have control of their health. That's what we're trying. That's what I'm trying to do. Always innovate. Can we hire the next person? Can we like who's, and everyone that's in my team has to be accountable for their success as well. Like, yes, everyone should get paid, or no one deserves to get paid anything. We all should earn what we get paid, in my opinion. Or at least that's the way I look at it. So bonuses are huge, but point is, no one deserves to get paid anything. No one here deserves anything that they have. We should all earn. I'm on the mindset that we should earn every single thing we have in our life. No one deserves anything. No one has a right to have anything. In regards to financial goals, you got to earn it. That's just the mindset that I have. And if you're not there, then what are you gonna do about it? If you're not there, what are you gonna do about it? Don't just, you're gonna pout, you're gonna complain, you're gonna give up, you're gonna go, just go
or
back
are you gonna do something about it?
Or you're gonna do something about it. You have no other option besides doing something about it. If you don't like how your life is right now, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about it? Okay, great. You don't like it? I don't like it either. What are you gonna do about it? Literally, like that's just the mindset that I have. All right, I didn't like where I was.
Yeah.
Again, I got pushed out, right? I got pushed off, but then at the end, I had a chance to have the same thing again. But I was like, no, I want all these things. I have all these goals. I have all this mindset. But what am I going to do about it? Am I going to just pretend that this is the options that I had, and if I only did this, I would have succeeded? Or am I going to actually succeed or figure out a way to succeed, because you have no other option but to succeed? So that's the way I saw it. I was here, right? I need to succeed. I need to keep going. I still feel that way, and I feel like I'm going to continue to feel that way.
I definitely think you're going to hit your goal this year. You've hit all the other goals. I'm excited to be part of that, hitting that goal this year. Virtual's going to be a big part of it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that by far is the most scalable, 100%.
Yeah.
Because now again, we have the business down to math, right? To an equation, to like, all right, how much more do we need to make? All right, so now it's a time where I can hire someone. Okay,
yeah.
And who do I hire? I know exactly who to hire and what numbers they should be hitting, how fast they should be hitting it. Now it's just how fast I want to get there. Really, it's just how fast. And I'm kicking myself because it's taking me 2 months to actually pull the trigger on hiring. Even though we hired 2 people, but I should have hired another like someone else already. Like, what am I doing? I'm wasting time. So that's how I
you can hear
yeah, because I'm serious. I'm not like just this isn't a show. Like, this is legit. Like, I feel like, what am I doing? Like, hurry up. Like, what am I waiting for? Because now it's PTSD from taking so long to being pushed out. Now I'm like, dude, all right, you wasted a year. Maybe I probably would have done it a year sooner. You hear a lot of people who made it significantly more than I did. And like, what's your biggest regret? I didn't do it sooner. I didn't do it sooner. And I would hear that a lot. And I'm like, yeah, but you got luckier. Yeah, but giving yourself excuses to why you should maintain in the same mediocre lifestyle that you have or that I had. Oh, yeah, you just, and I wish I did it sooner. Yeah, but you got lucky here. I wish I did it sooner. Yeah, but oh yeah, but you already had money when no, dude, it's like right now you as soon as you start, whatever may happen, you get pushed off. Like, I did whatever. You're gonna look back like, dude, what an idiot, man. I should. Again, I would have just been 1 year ahead of where I am now. I would have just been 1 year ahead, in my opinion, of where I would have been now. Was the experience valuable? 100%. But it's only valuable if you actually use it for the experience and to gain the knowledge, right? So a lot of people, another thing, they want to look for the better paying job, go to the better. Dude, don't. So I'm more so, don't go for the better paying job. Go for the one that you're going to learn the most, that you're going to gain the most skills.
100%. So, and even if it's skills in, like, if you want to run a business, then go into that type of business. So you can even like learn off the founder of that business, or try to like learn. So that's the reason why I went there. Because, when I started chiropractic, I had no idea. No one even teaches you what neuropathy is in chiropractic when I started. Yeah. It's just go adjust, go work at the joint, or, go adjust, and that's it. And maybe see a bunch of patients every 2 to 3 minutes, or just learn how to build insurance really well. But for me, it was more like, I just want to learn the business. So even though I actually had, again, it was like PI, like that's some like personal injury, it's always common in chiro as well. They were going to pay me a little bit more. So when I first got out of school and I had my license, they were going to pay me a little bit more than this side. But this side, I felt like I was going to have a better
I was going to be a little bit closer to the CEO of that business, where I could just at least observe the business side.
Yes.
So I 1,000,000% any day of the week I recommend taking, if you're going to take a pay cut, and a lot of the millennials now, they do it just for their peace of mind. It's like, being broke is not a good peace of mind, man. It's not good. So if you're going to take a pay cut, I always recommend so you can learn. Yeah. So you can learn that new skill that you need to get to whatever your goal is of opening a business, whatever, if it's marketing. If you're gonna switch jobs, do it for the skill, not for the money aspect. Income. The immediate income, dude, it's not gonna be a big difference. First of all, for you guys, it's not enough. It's not. The only way you're gonna change your life is if you own your own future. So in other words, if you own your own business and you take full control of your life. So to do that, you need some skills at least to get you going. Right? Again, for me, I had zero in entrepreneur experience. In my immediate family, I had no idea. I had no, like I said, hiring, all these stuff. Where to market, what to do, how to open a business. So I went to a place where I felt like I could have observed. Again, I took a little bit of a pay cut of what I could have made in the other job offer that I had, but I knew what the goal was. And the goal was just to be there 2 to 3 years, which I got fired at the 2-year mark, thankfully. 2.5 or something like that, which was, now looking back, maybe a year too much. Because if you're going there with the intention of learning and observing the patterns, really, in 6 to 9 months, you already know everything about the business, or at least everything that you could learn about the business. Like, really, realistically, wherever you're working there already for 2 years, you know everything. Now you just become a technician. Even someone, a doctor, right, or an MD, or a nurse, or whatever, a fancy engineer. After 6 months, you're a technician. You do the same thing over and over again. Doesn't matter how smart you are. So now can I learn the other aspects so that I can do it myself? Because the thing that never gets old is owning your business. That's new every single day. There's always things you can do.
Definitely new every single day.
It's every day. There's some things that are somewhat repetitive, looking at your stats and whatnot. But then you have the ability to do something new with it. Yeah. It's your money to invest in whatever you want to invest. So it's always new. There's always something new to learn. That's the thing that never gets bored, or at least for me, never gets boring, is running the business, right? Like, again, adjusting. There's only so much adjustments you could do, differently as a chiro. Prescribing medication, there's only so much medication you could prescribe typically, especially if you're a specialist. Surgeries, there's only so many types of surgeries you could do in your specialty. You just become a robot after, like I said, 6 to 9 months, you're a robot at that point. So like, you want to do something else, you own your own business, or because then you could expand and do something else, and hire someone to do that, so I could focus on more income producing tasks.
Well, guys, if you did need any external motivation, then this is the podcast to give it to you. After listening to that, hopefully you are motivated to do. If you've been putting something off, go and just do it. If you're suffocating. Been thinking about quitting, push through just that little bit longer. I read somewhere there that, I always like to imagine that, like, I quit like one day before I was going to be successful.
So I was about to tell you, like, that one photo. Have you seen that one meme? Or if not, put it up on the podcast. The one of, like, where there's two people in the cave. And there's a diamond at the end of one. That's my biggest fear, man. That's like one of my biggest fears. Like, just one behind me, and then that douchebag was behind me just because he didn't stop. Yeah. Dumber or whatever. But he just persevered and he got it, and I didn't, because I just didn't do that one extra freaking thing in the wall.
So don't be that person, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this podcast. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I feel like we could talk all day long about all this stuff. Oh yeah. So thank you so much again. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Follow, like, and subscribe.
Follow, like, and subscribe.